Hey everybody, this is the intro, and in this tutorial we're going to be going over for loops. So what a loop is it's something that runs recursively over and over again. And this is very useful in a lot of different scenarios, so it's very useful. I mean, not useful, but it's very vital to learn. And so what we're going to go over first is how to declare a for loop. So for is what we declare it with, and after that we have parameters and a body. So in our parameters, we're going to have three different things that go in here. The first one's called an initializer, and that's separated by a semicolon. All three things in here are separated by a semicolon. And then our second one is our test expression. And our third one is our incrementer. So to go over this, we have a loop that's going to run over and over, and it's going to run over and over based on these three things. So our initializer to start with is where we're going to start within that loop. So we're going to create some variable and set it equal to a value of any value you could set it equal to, but we're just going to start it to 0 for now. And our test expression, of course, separated by a semicolon, our test expression is going to be, we have a initializer, which is a start for the loop at 0, and we have to have some place or somewhere that the loop ends so that it just doesn't keep going on and on. Of course, we could make it go on and on, but in most cases you're not going to want to do that. It could crash your code block IDE and just create all types of problems. But for our test expression, we have to have some type of value. So what we're going to do is type x is less than 10. So this is our test. So we have, so far, x is equal to 0, and is basically what this says, as long as x is less than 10, and then our incrementer is what keeps, okay, so we have a 0, and we have to have some way for our integer of x to become 1 and 2 and 3, and that's where our incrementer comes into play. So what our incrementer is used for the syntax is the variable's name, so x, and then plus plus, which means plus 1, meaning that every time this loop runs, it will change this 0 value from 0 to 1, from 1 to 2, from 2 to 3, and so on until it equals to 10. So when it equals 10, it will stop because x is no longer going to be less than 10. We could also use less than or equal to 10 to get an extra so that we get 10 values outputted to the screen, or 10 recursive functions that run, because anything that runs inside of this body will recursively run over and over and over again, if you get what I mean. So I'm trying to overcomplicate it for myself. So without trying to overcomplicate it, I'm just going to put cout, and we're just going to cout error, capital letters a whole bunch of times, and in that line. So our for loop is called into play. We have our initializer, x is starting at 0. Our test is as long as x is less than or equal to 10, and our incrementer, which is x plus plus, which means every time this loop runs, it will go up 1 so that we get 10 eventually, so that our loop will stop. So you should see this run 10 times. So we're going to go ahead and build and run our program and see what the for loop does. So as you can see here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 values. And the reason we got 11 instead of 10 is because in programming, 0 counts as an object. So when this compiler was running this code and it said, okay, you started at 0, it took 0 as an object, not like in normal math or normal algebra. It does recognize that 0 is an actual object. So it started at 0 and counted this as one object and entered that first line, and then it went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and all the way up to 11. So that's just a quick tip, and that comes in a really big play when we are creating loops, because say I needed 10, and you just went in, started at 0, and entered 10, and you're expecting it to get 10 values back. You're not going to. And if I was to take this equal sign out, it would mean x is less than 10, so it would stop at 9, so we'd get 10 values exactly instead of 11. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So as you can see there, it didn't count 10 exactly, because once 0 reached 10, it stopped being less than x, or 10 stopped being greater than x. So that's how you run a for loop. Remember the syntax for them, remember how to use them. They'll be very useful in the future. And actually, I'm going to go over a few things, or one more thing. So we don't have to declare this inside of our for loop. So I can actually just delete this part of our loop, and we can just say, so integer x is equal to 0. And I don't mean that by you can't have that at all. You have to have an initializer, but we don't have to actually declare that variable inside of it. We can just type in the name. So of course we still need the variable type, or actually we don't need the variable type, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but we need the variable name. So we're starting at x, give it a little room. So we're starting at x, and instead of declaring int x is equal to 0 inside of the for loop, our program knows x is equal to 0 because that's what it was set as. So this basically says the same thing as this, if you get what I mean. So for x is less than 10, x plus plus, and run our program again. And as you can see, it runs perfectly just as it did before. And that's basically how you use for loops. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for my new videos, and please subscribe.